Syracuse.com is now reporting that it was a shirtless student running with a glue gun in the rain, which led to the Colgate lockdown. A pair of witnesses called Colgate campus security, reported that they saw a shirtless African-American running in the rain, holding a T-shirt and a phone in one hand and what looked like a possible gun in the other hand. The person then entered the O'Connor Campus Center. Campus security then initiated a 4-hour lockdown when students later learned their weapon was actually a glue gun being used for an art project. Many were outraged and suspected racial profiling played a role. The security guy. Well, in fairness, I got to tell you, and we'll bring in Ryan Nobles from CNN.
Really, you don't think that if there was a white guy running across campus holding what appeared to be a gun, they wouldn't do the same thing? Give me a break.
Listen. Stop shooting the messenger, please.
I'm just telling you that
what the hell is up with you, Ryan Nobles? Good morning.
Twisted rules of engagement as usual.
Do I have
4 hours right out to find out?
4 hours is a little crazy, but
don't try to talk, Andrew. He's got the floor. Listen. What I'm saying is, it's just now Andrew's leaving. That's it.
I'm leaving. You know what? I'm leaving too.
What I'm trying to say here is that the story the day before didn't have the details. And that's saying a student running across they're
saying that it was racially motivated.
But all that was released was it was a student running with a glue gun, and they're saying some on the campus felt that because he's black, it was profiled. So, but now as the details come out, it's even further not racial. And I'm assuming the school is putting the guy on leave with paid leave, the security person, just until they filter through the details as the proper thing to do. And I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt here, Joe.
Okay, give them the benefit.
Okay, stop trying to shoot the messenger with a glue gun.
Yeah.
Ryan Nobles from CNN. Good morning, Ryan.
I actually have a connection to that story. My wife's cousin was in one of the libraries that was on lockdown during that period of time. So
really?
It was a scary moment for him, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, if you see somebody with now we're finding out, Ryan, no shirt. He's running across campus in the rain. He's got something, and a call comes into security saying it looks like he has a gun. I mean, what is security supposed to do? You got to go to lockdown there, I would think.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know the details of it. I'm not going to suggest any thing. I just know about what my cousin-in-law's situation was like.
Yeah.
4 hours seems like a really long time to have an entire campus on lockdown for a kid running around with a glue gun. Yeah. But I obviously don't know any of the details.
It does. Were they unable to find? You're right. I mean, it did go on for 4 hours. And there was also at one point, there was something came out and referred to it as an active shooter.
The initial alert.
Now, there is no...
Yeah, that was the tweets by Colgate.
Right.
Right.
So I think that might play a little role in this, too. Because there's no evidence of anybody reporting that there was a gunshot.
Was it West Virginia or Virginia Tech where they ended up having the shootings in the classrooms and all that? I mean, that is a scary situation.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, I think that, Ryan, we're on edge right now. People are quick to pull the that's the wrong way of saying it.
Yeah.
Pull the trigger. But you know what I'm trying to say, and butcher it.
100%, Bill. People would prefer to be safe than sorry. It's a cliche for sure, but that's, you do not want to take the risk of ignoring. I mean, the Virginia Tech situation, which Joe alludes to, the shooter killed a couple of people on one side of campus and then walked all the way to the other side of the campus before he got into that classroom. And public safety did not take the report seriously enough, which is part of what led to it. So, yeah, I mean, you obviously rather be safe than sorry, but probably likely needs to be some balance in there.
All right, I have to ask right off the bat here: are you responsible for Jolene's appearance on Headline News all day yesterday? Come on, fess up. Let's go.
I am not, but I was very proud of her. I actually didn't realize that she was on until I saw the tweets about her this morning. I've been actually following her tweets myself on Twitter. I know she's doing great work covering that trial, and good for her.
Yeah.
I think Jolene Utica is very lucky to have a reporter the caliber of Jolene Ferris on your air every single night. So it's good to see the rest of the country gets an opportunity to see that.
We try to get her. It's like, sorry, I'm doing CNN. I can't do that anymore. Can't do that show.
That didn't happen.
It didn't?
Ryan is right.
Okay.
You have to settle for me. Sorry, Bill.
That's right. We had to settle for you. I can't believe it. All right. I've only got a few minutes. We're really behind, and we're going to jump on a few things. This sanctuary cities, this is something that's been, it has been in the national news, of course. But New York is one of those states. Utica seems to be contemplating, the state actually had a bill in place that would have made New York a sanctuary state versus a sanctuary city. What are you seeing? What's the talk out there?
I mean, I think that this is an example of how the country is in desperate need of broad immigration reform. And until you can get some sort of compromise between Republicans and Democrats about the best way to, A, secure the border, and B, allow an easier way for competent, responsible people to become active and productive members of American society as citizens, you're going to continue to have these differences in opinion as to the way to go forward. So Utica is a great example of a city that benefits greatly by the influx of immigrants from around the world, many from the refugee community. And so I can understand why the leadership there might want to put some protections in place for undocumented people. But you also have to see the other side of this argument where these people are breaking the law.
Right.
And you get the cases, and I should say the cases are not necessarily rare. Most people that come into the country illegally are not the type that then go on to commit more crimes. But still, the balance needs to be struck somewhere. Unfortunately, the atmosphere and the environment that we have in Washington is not in any way conducive to some sort of substantive reform that would solve that problem.
Quickly, before we let you go, I want to ask you about health care back in. It looks like I don't know. There's still over a dozen Republicans that have not decided which way they're going to vote on this. And as of yesterday afternoon, Republicans were a vote away from losing the battle. Where are we this morning? What are your thoughts?
I was on Capitol Hill Monday, Bill, and it was incredible to see these Republican members of the House up and down the Capitol, running as quickly as they could away from reporters to not have to answer the question as to whether or not they were going to support this health care bill. I mean, you had members of the WIP team, and the WIP team is the group of members of Congress that are specifically designated by the Speaker to encourage people to vote for bills that the leadership is behind. And there were members of that WIP team that couldn't say whether or not they were going to support the bill. The president right now has made phone calls this morning to try and encourage some of these people that are on the fence. They're still trying to hammer out this deal. But in many ways, Bill, the president himself is his own worst enemy when it comes to this. He had gotten the Freedom Caucus on board with this MacArthur amendment, which would give the states a little bit of flexibility with some of the more tougher standards for the health care bill. And then he essentially blew a hole in it with his interviews over the weekend. So now maybe you have some conservative members that are leery. I don't know. I'm very skeptical that they can get this over the finish line. And Bill, like we said many times before, even if the House passes it, the idea that it's going to get through the Senate in its current form is probably a fantasy. This administration has a long way to go before they're going to do anything substantive that's really going to repeal and replace Obamacare.
Well, the Freedom Caucus, it's all about ideology. So you've gotten them taken care of because they won't budge. And now you move over to the moderates, and they're all about, oh my God, I'm going to have to go home and face my constituents. I'll never get reelected.
Correct.
So this goes nowhere. I don't see how it goes, and it's going to be a very complicated run down the road to fix this thing.
Well, I mean, why would you, Bill, if you were a moderate Republican in a district that Hillary Clinton won, there is no need for you to take a political bullet for Donald Trump. It just doesn't make any sense. Even as a Republican, you may want to support your Republican president, your Republican administration, but you've got to think about this practically. One of the senior producers that works on Capitol Hill yesterday, who's been covering Congress for a very long time, he wisely told me, he said, Ryan, these men and women have one motivation and one motivation only, and that is to get reelected. So they are not going to support a bill that could in any way, shape, or form hurt their chances of being reelected.
Yeah, when they're not looking at legislation, they're usually on the telephone calling, trying to get funding for their campaign. And I mean, that's a fact. That happens. It's crazy what they have to go through.
They probably spend more time raising money than they do anything else.
Probably do, yeah. All right, Ryan. Ryan Nobles, Washington correspondent with CNN. Thank you so much. We'll talk again next week.
Maybe get Jolie next week.
Okay, right. Well, again, we might have to settle with you, but I'll do my best. Okay.
All right.
All right, Ryan. Thanks. Quick break.